Hello, everyone. Hope everybody's having a great Wednesday. I know my work day was, can't complain about it. Got things done. I'm all caught up. And so today I wanted to talk about holding down the fort because I started to kind of feel like that sort of relief, maybe, about everybody just having the ability to express what's on their mind and getting it out there and considering that as like done, as the what has to what I'm trying to say is that the fight has really just begun. You start by voicing your opinion and then you follow through with actions. And because we know that what we're up against in this world, to all the believers. Obviously, I'm speaking to believers, not people that are you know, that think that people are basically, chess pieces, and we're just kind of manipulated in whichever way. So yes, definitely. I guess a few things that I wanted to mention that are just kind of just more like clear-headed messages to people that are trying to make decisions as to how they should feel about people being lording over them. I don't think a leader needs to has the should have that need to want to overpower anybody. A true leader is powerful, um in and of himself, in and of herself. They're not looking to like try and overpower anybody to like feel, I guess, potent. um so I wanted to mention how, certain there's certain indicators of when you're headed for trouble with people that you're letting, control you, or are even entertaining the idea of of going in any of in their direction, right? So when you start to feel like it's a power struggle, this is and this is all about relationships. Again, I do relate to. I don't I don't worship men or woman. I don't worship mankind. I worship God, and I respect people that worship God. I find that when I'm dealing with people that worship God, are a lot it's just a lot more of a respectful interaction. And so we want to talk about that power struggle, right? This is like the, sort of like the lessons that us people need to learn from the Harris Biden administration, Biden Harris whatever administration, as to, how we should think in order to not later be punished with wearing masks and getting vaccines that don't work. I just You don't have to trust them, and they know that, and they wouldn't do it either. That's the whole deal. The deal is that somehow their thieving through the election makes them feel, I guess, legitimate and elevated to a higher position than anybody else. So they can't reflect on their own, part of this whole thing, obviously. And I'm referring to the fact that they don't really wear masks around people. And, they don't take their own rules, because they know it means nothing, and people are gonna get sick. People are gonna get sick, and people get sick all the time. They've been getting sick, and people have been getting sick and dying since the beginning of time. It's just kind of the way things work. We have an expiration date, my friend. Some of us are born with better genes. I have asthma, and I don't even know how I survived COVID, but I'm telling you, I have had no vaccines. I have had, I expose myself on public transportation. I don't, I'm not, like this, germophobic freak that like doesn't want to put my body to work and, process and develop my own immunity to, to viruses and bacterias. And, um, but yeah, I do take my vitamins, and I drink a lot of wine too. that's why I take my vitamins so I can keep drinking wine and exposing it and staying as young as I can forever. Okay, so the whole power struggle thing is kind of it's more like of a mind game. This is not the leader that we need to be aspiring to. The type of leader that we need to be aspiring to is a little bit more selfless, is a person that is willing, is down to earth, is willing to roll up their sleeves, doesn't care about the titles. And there's candidates out there, and that really isn't on the fast track in a hurry to make a statement and be too hasty with decisions that at the end of the day are going to impact us all. um Setting up for failure, that's another thing, is like, why like, already we have our own problems in our own personal private lives, but when like all these other obstacles are stacked up against us with the whole, suddenly, you're in a power struggle because you already know better, and you know what's better for you, and you know what you're willing to do. And if I spread my disease, guess what? I probably got it from your mama. It just you can't, like, is there like a ground zero? Because if you can, and I don't really, I don't trust the United States government, um the secret government, to the extent that they can say that it came from a certain source. It's unfortunate that China didn't want to cooperate, of course, but at the same time, oftentimes, is if the United States wants cooperation from a country, then there's a potential coup, and then it destroys other nations, and then we could have been in a bigger problem. So and this is just a reflection of what I want to see in a leader. I mean, that's great that he's a person that is watching out for his country and watching out for, the potential of evil men and evil people that would possibly be, interrupting, like, disrupting the organization, the government system they have in place currently. And this is what we should be doing here too. And like, nice try, guys, but moving right along. It didn't work. It didn't happen. So now you have to kind of think, okay, so that didn't work. This is exactly why you had, somebody that was a man of action like Trump, that was has the foresight to to understand this is what's going on. This is the future. If we want to stay, a world leader, this is what has to be done. And then maybe later, but what the I guess, like, slow, I mean, it's not slow, you're just buyer in people's pockets, like people that are in leadership right now are in other people's pockets, and so they find it hard to make decisions that are really the best decision for the rest of us and for the nation as a whole, like, just as a matter of pride in their homeland. um and they're not going to. And then they are just really inducing, a whole other civil war. I mean, they're talking about going back to, like, the times that, I mean, we're past all of this talk about race and stuff. You know what? I would rather people just be their natural selves and get to know them for who they are, and stop, having, uh race against race, and exploring, your own race, and explore your individuality and understand what it means to be an American, and that we all stand in solidarity to one nation, because that's what's best for us. It's not my, like, my Mexican people that are going to save and rescue me. No, it's me. I'll check them on that. You have to be a strong person for you, so that it makes me a stronger person when I'm there for myself. So, and that is what makes a community strong. So I don't really like that very much. Don't let people set you up for failure, with the mind games they want to play on you. they only got as far as they did because they wanted to play the system. They wanted to play the game of being some sort of important person, but they're not. They're really just, beneath us, really. I mean, we all had the capacity of resisting the temptation to become this, sort of, manipulated, used, like a used being. But they didn't. They didn't, and they're still there getting used by one another. They're not doing anything to change anything. They're just going along with things, like nothing is really changed in this world and nothing is happening. And they're enjoying it all on our tax dollars and living the high life. And they need to um really get over themselves. Okay, so yeah, the whole um this kid's name, the guy from, I'm not that great with these people's names. The kid that is on trial today. I'm struggling a little bit because I'm a parent, and I tend to put more responsibility on my son and what he should be doing and why he shouldn't be there in the first place. You shouldn't have been there. Now that and you were, but I don't think it was premeditated. I think it was like the same sort of bullying that we see from, thugs that are just like trying to take over the streets. It's the same kind of ignorance and foolishness. Um, but so my advice as a mom would be, don't like put yourself in a situation where eventually you're going to have to defend yourself, shoot, and then have to explain yourself to people that are the brown nosers and do want to have points with the blackmailers, with the true blackmailers that are putting out there, like, if you don't, if you don't like kill this guy or punish this guy, he you're next. And so they're like blackmailed and intimidated, threatened, or whatever, and they have to brown nose to them. Me, um obviously, if I felt that I was in a position where I felt threatened, and I knew, like, it's either me or you're going down. You know what I mean? Like, like, I'm not, like, I'm just there, like telling you I have a gun, so don't come at me. And you come at me, it's gonna be you, like that. Like, that's just like everybody would do that. Like, these people are just hypocritical, and I know that it's brown nosing and blackmailing, brown nosing, blackmailing. But okay, so let's go ahead and read from the Aesop book. I actually did search a little bit for this one, and then, yeah, flipped it to the right page again. So this one is The Rat and the Elephant. A rat was traveling along the king's highway. He was a very proud rat, considering his small size and the bad reputation all rats have. As Mr. Rat walked along, he kept mostly to the ditch. He noticed a great commotion up the road, and soon a grand procession came in view. It was the king and his retinue. The king rode on a huge elephant adorned with the most gorgeous trappings. With the king in his luxurious howdah were the royal dog and cat. A great crowd of people followed the procession. They were so taken up with the admiration of the elephant that the rat was not noticed. His pride was hurt. "What fools!" he cried. "Look at me, and you will soon forget that clumsy elephant. Is it his great size that makes your eyes pop out, or is it his wrinkled hide? Why I have eyes and ears and as many legs as he. I am of just as much importance, and—" But just when the royal cat spied him, and the next instant, the rat knew he was not quite so important as an elephant. And the message here is: a resemblance to the great in some things does not make us great. Okay. Okay. And I guess, like, there's obviously a lot of reading between the lines here, but also, there is, um, It's really just about appearances and looking the part, sometimes to some people, and really it can go either way. Like, just be yourself, be natural. There's nothing wrong with that. And finally, but reading from today's Catholic Bible. I think it's the American version. I forget. Either way, it's from the Book of Wisdom, and it's inspirational. So this is reading from the Book of Wisdom, chapter 6, verses 1 through 11. Hear, O kings, and understand, learn, you magistrates of the earth's expanse. Hearken, you who are in power over the multitude, and lord it over throngs of people. Because authority was given you by the Lord, and sovereignty by the Most High, who shall probe your works and scrutinize your counsels. Because, though you were ministers of his kingdom, you judged not rightly, and did not keep the law, nor walk according to the will of God. Terribly and swiftly shall he come against you, because judgment is stern for the exalted. For the lowly may be pardoned out of mercy, but the mighty shall be mightily put to the test. For the Lord of all shows no partiality, nor does he fear greatness, because he himself made the great as well as the small. And he provides for all alike, but for those in power, a rigorous scrutiny and pens. To you, therefore, O princes, are my words addressed, that you may learn wisdom, and that you may not sin. For those who keep the holy precepts, hallowed shall be found holy, and those learned in them will have radiant response. Desire therefore my words, long for them, and you shall be instructed. I truly believe that. And I recently heard a very good message from a seer from the Garabandal. Her name is Conchita Gonzalez, and she is very simple and plain. And she just search for the word of God, just search for the word of God. And she knows of all the impending, punishments. And people think that it's kind of like a fantasy, and like it's man-made. It's not. Like, God is not man-made. God made man. People need to really understand that and get it straight. There's no way that men without God would have even had the ability to. We'd just be animals without God. We'd just be okay. So please think it through, guys. Um, you princess of the world, get it straight, okay? All right, guys. So have a great rest of your day, of your night, and hopefully um, this message gets to all the people that God loves, and that love God right back, and that want to keep holding on that fort, and knowing, like, don't, like, just because things seem like they're calm, trust me, there's good people and there's evil people, and we're going to clash for a very long time until things get right again. So um like, if you ever have a moment of reflection, so a breather period for reflecting, I suggest that you use it to really um be able to stand up to people that are going to want to sway you in different directions every time they want to get their way about something that they know they're wrong about, but that they know that they can get away with, because they're just going to get people to sway. So stand strong, hold people accountable, and hold your ground. And that's my message tonight. Have a great night, guys. Bye bye.